Pokemon Pocket has been releasing new packs every month, and right now, according to Central Leaks on Twitter, the next main set A4 will be dropping on Wednesday, July 30th at 11 p.m. Pacific time. But right now, we don't know what region is going to be featured in this set. I have a pretty good feeling that this next set is going to feature Johto, and I'm going to break down why I think this is the case in today's video. If you guys end up finding this video entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel, as it helps me out a lot. Now let's jump right into this video. Before we try to predict the future for Pokemon Pocket, we should take a quick look at the past. A1 was our first set in Pokemon Pocket titled Genetic Apex, and it featured every Pokemon in Kanto, the first generation of Pokemon, alongside several other Pokemon from future gens as well. The next full set A2 featured the fourth generation of Pokemon, Sinnoh. A couple months later, we had our next full set A3, which is going to have all of the Pokemon from Generation 7, also known as the Alolan region. You might notice a pattern with the generations that are being selected. We went from Generation 1 to Generation 4 up to Generation 7, meaning so far they've been releasing a set for every 3 generations. Logically, if we continue this pattern, the next set would be for Generation 10, but there is not yet a Generation 10 in Pokemon, so I think what they're going to do is restart the cycle and go with Generation 2 next, followed by Gens 5 and 8 in future sets. You can let me know in the comments if I'm reaching or if this seems like a pretty logical explanation, but I think it's a pretty good baseline for why Johto is going to be the next set in Pokemon Pocket. If A4 is going to be featuring Johto Pokemon, then that means the packs would most likely feature Ho-Oh and Lugia as the title EX cards. I'm not sure how these cards will be structured because typically legendary EX Pokemon do not get the attacks that exist in the mainline games. They're going to get a different attack that exists only in Pokemon trading card game. With this in mind, Ho-Oh's main signature move is Sacred Fire from the main games, and it's a move known for having a high chance to burn your opponents, so I think Ho-Oh EX could possibly be a card that would have a burn attack for one of its effects. I think most likely it would end up having more than one attack. If Ho-Oh EX is going to have an ability, Ho-Oh does have the ability Regenerator in the main games, whose effect is if you switch it out, it will regain a third of its HP. So it'd be pretty cool to see an ability where if you retreat with Ho-Oh EX, it could regenerate somewhere between 30 to 50 health. Like if you send it to the bench, it's going to heal automatically. I think that'd be pretty cool, but I'm not sure if it would actually get Regenerator ability or if they would give it a different ability. For Lugia EX, its signature move is Aerial Blast, which is just a high damaging move with a critical hit ratio. However, based on the way that this wind type attack works, if I had to guess, this move implemented in Pocket would most likely have the effect of hitting a Pokemon on the bench for damage as well, similar to Lucario EX's Aura Sphere. Lugia's ability in the mainline Pokemon games is Multi-Scale, which lets it take half damage from attacks when at full HP. I don't think they would actually do a half damage mechanic, so if it were implemented in Pokemon Pocket, it would most likely have some kind of effect of you're going to take reduced damage attacks when you're at full HP, like maybe minus 30 to minus 50 damage, meaning you would either need non-attacking damage sources to chip it down in the beginning, or you would need a more heavy hitter to start dealing with it off rip. If we were going to talk about typings for these cards, Ho-Oh is going to be fire and flying, so it'd most likely be a fire type card, but Lugia is a bit trickier because it is psychic and flying, but it's known as the guardian of the ocean, so I'm not sure if they would make Lugia a water type card or if they would make it a psychic type card, or they could even get crazier and go off of its flying typing and make it a normal type card as well. So there's a lot of options for Lugia EX. I think most likely it would be a psychic or water type card though. I do think at the end of the day, it's very likely that these Pokemon are going to get unique abilities and moves that do not exist in the mainline Pokemon games, but this is a pretty interesting concept for how I think the cards could work based on the mechanics we already know from the mainline Pokemon games. Outside of the main legendaries, some other iconic Gen 2 Pokemon that would probably get EX versions are going to be the starters. I think Feraligatr and Typhlosion are very popular and could definitely get EX versions, but I'm not sure that all 3 of them would get one initially, and if they were going to leave one out, it would probably be Meganium. In addition, with the last set for Gen 7, only Incineroar and Decidueye got EX cards initially, and then Primarina EX followed in a future mini set. So I think it's most likely that not all 3 starters are going to get an EX version, but at least one of them will get one for sure. This region also introduced the legendary dog trio Entei, Suicune, and Raikou, so it is possible they would get their own EX cards as well, but I do think it's also possible that they're only going to get regular 3 diamond cards. There's a couple other Johto Pokemon that I'm looking forward to getting evolutions in this game. For the most part, I'm thinking off-rip Scizor as well as Steelix. So these are both Pokemon that existed in Gen 1 with Scyther and with Onix, and then they got a different type evolution in Generation 2 and got a Steel type evolution. So I think it would be really cool to see a Grass type Scyther card evolving into a Steel type Scizor card, or same with the Onix, how it's going to go from fighting to a Steel type when it evolves. So I'm really looking forward to see what they're going to do with the Scizor and with the Steelix card. This was also the generation that introduced Espeon and Umbreon, and I know they've already gotten a lot of love in the recent Eevee Grove set, but I do think it would be kind of cool if we got an Espeon EX or an Umbreon EX in this set. I think that'd be pretty cool, but I'm not sure if that'll actually happen. These sets don't only include Pokemon cards, we also have to think about the supporter and the item cards as well as those Pokemon tools. I really couldn't tell you what they would do as far as the items and Pokemon tools, but we could try to guess some of the trainer cards that we're going to get based off of who exists in the Johto region. Me personally, I really hope that Lance is going to get a card. He is the champion of the Johto region, and if he does get a trainer card, he's probably going to offer more Dragonite support, and I really hope this happens because Dragonite is one of my favorite Pokemon pocket cards, and giving it more viability would be pretty awesome in my opinion. And before you ask how I know Lance is going to get support for Dragonite if he's added, have you seen this guy's team? He literally has 3 different Dragonites on his roster. He's the only champion in Pokemon history who repeats his Pokemon multiple times. This guy loves Dragonite. Usually some of the villains also get cards, but Team Rocket are still the big bads of this region. It was only in Gen 3 when they started going with different teams, and they've already had a lot of love in the past with Team Rocket, so I'm not sure what they're going to do fully. However, if they are going to add any villain cards, I think Archer and Ariana could possibly get some cool supporter cards, as they're 2 notable admins in Team Rocket that were introduced in Gold and Silver. Johto also has a lot of gym leaders they could pick from if they wanted to make more trainer cards, and I do think it'd be pretty cool to see a card for Whitney, Bugsy, or Jasmine. They're all pretty solid trainers who I think had a pretty lasting impression on playthroughs. Definitely Whitney for sure. She's a very known trainer, so I think there's a good chance we're going to get a Whitney card. Let me know down in the comments if you guys agree with my predictions, and if you also made it this far, then I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel because I'm on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and I would really appreciate your support as I get closer to that goal. I usually make videos about pack openings as well as deck showcases, but I'm also trying to branch out to other styles of videos, so if you want to see more content like this, then your support will show me directly what you guys want to see more. That's going to be all from me from this video though, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.